Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my cheeks keeps alerting the guards. This podcast is brought to you today by Western Rise. I'm a firm believer that all clothes should be stretchy, and so is Western Rise. Staples like their Evolution pants, the Versa hat, their shorts, perfect for the summer, and more are made up of high-quality, stretchy, wrinkle and stain-resistant material that give off a professional yet casual aesthetic, and are all on sale now. Western Rise is doing their yearly warehouse sale where you can get up to 40% off up until April 30th. These pants also come with a lifetime warranty, so that means these are the last pants you'll literally ever have to buy. The Western Rise team is so confident you'll love their clothes that they'll let you test drive it for 7 days. And if you don't like it, feel free to send it back. You can try out different sizes, colors, and variations to figure out what's best for you. Use code Black Oni to get 10% off and free shipping on your next order outside of the sale. Now, let's get back to it. Black Oni.
You're now listening to the Black Oni Podcast.
There we go. Now y'all should be able to hear everything. Yo, what's goody, everybody? It's your boy, Black Oni, and we've got ourselves a new podcast. We have some amazing guests on for today's show. I want to first start off by introducing the audio lover. Who are you? What you do? Where can people go find you?
What's up, y'all? It's the audio lover, all mind and living organisms vibrantly expressing reality. How y'all doing? I've been good, man. Just been doing my thing. You can catch me on youtube.com/the audio lover, as well as on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok.
Ooh, the tickety talkities.
Yeah, we getting back on TikTok.
Yes, before it gets banned in the US.
Why not? Why not?
And I'm very excited to introduce our special guest for today. We are embracing the chaos with Mav Attack.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of chaos.
A little bit.
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
thank you for being here. So we're going to jump right into today's podcast, and we're going to introduce things with the icebreaker. Ooh. My icebreaker is actually right? It's a little spicy. Who's the last VTuber that you've watched? VTuber. And I can start this one because this is a friend of mine that I actually met through Naraka Blade Point. Shout out to anybody who knows about that game. But he actually transitioned into becoming a VTuber. He wasn't always. And then I remember it was maybe like 3 days ago. I was watching him play Apex Legends, and he's so good at that game. Like he's just good at games in general, but he was just killing it. I'm like, bro, this is why I stopped playing Apex. Because motherfuckers like you. But if y'all at home enjoy yourselves a VTuber, I definitely recommend checking him out. I'm going to leave a link to his Twitch. But either one of y'all can go next.
Well, I actually haven't really seen a whole lot of VTubers.
Okay.
There's some creators who we've watched in the past who have done speedrunning or different things like that, who have kind of gone from being on camera to off camera and let their VTuber take place. Mm-hmm. But nobody in particular. I just kind of watch whoever at the moment, and anybody who's enjoying themselves, having a good time. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. What about you, audio lover? You got anyone that you've been watching who kind of transitioned?
You kind of threw me off on this one. No, because I'm trying to remember, because I haven't watched, like, I've been literally under a rock for the past few months, taking tests and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I don't watch a lot of VTubing, but there was one specific person I would watch as a VTuber. I'm literally trying to find them.
And this question is for chat as well. Whoever y'all have been watching, I want to know all about it because I think that world is pretty interesting. I considered
Kiki baby.
Who was it?
Kiki baby.
Oh yes,
when she VTubes.
Yes,
that I do watch that too. Because I'm like, who is it?
Wait, have you not seen her face before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
I was about to say I've been telling people about her for a minute.
But the thing is, I do tend to watch people I know more that I personally know or personally have a relationship with, rather than just finding random people. I found her randomly on Twitch, and I followed her on Twitch, and I watch her stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's probably been a couple of months since I've watched her stuff because it's been a couple of months since I've been like on Twitch watching things.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been noticing.
Yeah, she's the one. I just got back within the last month.
Right.
But yeah, she's the one I've been. I used to watch when I watched VTube.
You are not the only person that I've heard recently say they haven't been watching a lot of Twitch in general. Not even just like not watching any particular person. Just not watching Twitch. So
for me, it's personal reasons. I had to like I said, I had to go in hiding and hibernation, do some studying and stuff like that, and come back out. So life.
Yes. Damn, life ain't no joke.
Life.
And if I'll circle back around to my answer, because we actually, before I came out of the box, because I've only been here for about a month. I was in a box and Lo let us out of the box. So it's been a month. I have some catching up to do. However, we did earlier on follow some Apex Legends creators. And there's actually one, his name is Hambino. That's a fun name. Apex Legend VTuber. But the Apex scene is pretty massive and there's some really cracked out players in there, like really crazy players. So that's one of them. That's one of the very few. Yeah, and like I said, there's some speedrunners who are VTubers as well. They kind of get in. There's Cat Link used to have VTuber, but I think now it's more so a like an avatar, and she's back on screen.
Okay.
But there's a few others out there who do some solid work.
Yeah, that's cool. I've always considered like if I should start doing VTubing too, or if the community would be like, I don't know, I like seeing your face, or because whenever I turn my camera off for any reason, people are like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, I actually want to do some VTubing. Like if I could like really do some streaming again, consistently, I think VTubing for me would be the way to go. Because I don't always like to have my camera on. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I get it. I completely get it. See, there's days where I'm like, man, do I really want to have this camera on? I did it once, and people were just like, why? Where are you? What happened? Yeah. Like, damn, bro. Like, what if I just have a bad hair day?
Like games when I'm playing in the dark or games that's like horror and stuff like that. You don't want that bright light on your face, and then you got to play. Like it kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah, it takes you out of your own immersion.
Yeah,
that's funny. Well, speaking of that, and that's a perfect segue. What have you been playing? Let's start with you, Audio, since you just mentioned.
Ooh.
You mentioned the atmospheric. Don't want bright lights in your face.
I've been playing a lot of stuff, man. As you know, I'm mainly a PlayStation gamer. So I usually try to stick to a 3-game rotation. Right now, my rotation is just a mess. I think I'm gonna finally retire Rogue Company. I used to play a lot of that.
I saw you on yesterday.
I was on today.
Okay.
But I think I'm finally gonna retire it. Yeah, I think I did like a good solid year and a half of that. I'm like, all right, I want to play a new game as a service game. I only try to stick with one at a time. I think I'm gonna go into Battlefield 2024.
Okay.
As my game of choice. I've been playing. Actually, I just spent the last hour playing the Diablo 4 beta.
Ooh.
It's really good. You know what? It's one of those games. It's like if you play Diablo, in my opinion, and don't crucify me, people. But it's Diablo.
Okay.
You know, like they didn't make no drastic changes as far as the essence of Diablo. I think they've made some like game changes, you know, for people who really know that game, that franchise, but like asymmetric, top down, a lot more cutscenes than I'm used to in Diablo.
Yeah, I noticed
I'm used to like one cutscene per per act. But like you're getting cutscenes throughout the gameplay and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's fine. It's graphically, it's good. Yeah,
it's fine.
You know, like I don't know. Like I didn't know if I like should skip it or I don't know. I was like, like I just wanna kill stuff.
Yeah.
It's Diablo.
That is Diablo.
Like, I don't need all these cutscenes. It's Diablo. For real. And I'm trying to figure out what Ubisoft I want to get into. That's really where I'm at because it's either Assassin's Creed, which is either Syndicate or Origins or Watch Dogs 2.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at. I finally beat Battle Chasers. So
how was that, by the way?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I gotta start it because I still haven't.
I loved it. And I played that one because it was on the PlayStation Plus Extra. So that was, and I don't play a lot of JRPGs, but like that one was like maybe 15, 20 hours main storyline. I did 30 just because I did like a lot of the side quests.
Okay.
But yeah. And Yakuza Like a Dragon. That's staying on my rotation. That one I really, really enjoy.
Yeah. You know me, I love Japanese theme thing, so especially like feudal Japan theme. So I was thinking about picking that one up too. I'm just trying to like there's so many games.
You're thinking about Ishin.
Yes. I'm
playing the other one, the one
before it, Like a Dragon. Yes.
That one, hella
it's turn-based.
It surprised me. It surprised me. Hella dope.
Okay. Mav Attack, what you playing?
There's a lot of different games out right now, like a lot, and it's gonna keep going. Like one of the biggest ones that we have right now is Resident Evil 4 Remake. Have you guys been interested playing? Oni's
yes.
Been playing. Oni's been in.
Oh yes.
Nose deep.
No, balls deep.
I seen the short this morning.
Oh man, it took me. We're gonna talk about this as the next topic, but yeah, I'm trying to like get my output higher, but like it just takes time.
Yeah,
it takes me too much time because it's not even that my stuff is perfect. It's just I'm a perfectionist. It's annoying.
And that's understandable. Perfection sucks because it halts you from progress, but if you can get over that hump, it's incredible. It feels good. It feels freeing because you can be okay with the work that's in the wild, and you kind of, in a way, feel held back a little bit. So when you finally push it out there and everything, it's like, okay, like we can feel good about what we're creating. We can take notes of the mistakes or the things that we want to correct for next time, but we're making progress, and that's the most important thing, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. So Resident Evil, what do you think of it so far? I'm watching. We're all watching you play it right now.
Okay, I see. Oh no, it's fun. It's a good time. It's kind of scary a little bit.
Well, what? Yeah.
But it has a lot of chaos, and we love chaos. Also, really quickly, I felt called out because you mentioned gaming. Well, you mentioned gaming with the camera off, and you're like, yeah, sometimes we don't want the camera on. And Lo didn't want the cameras on. He was like, I'm not gonna turn the cameras on. I want to be behind the camera. But fuck that. Fuck Lo. We're here, baby. We're here.
Shit.
Ooh. The chocolate.
Yes.
We out here.
Resident Evil 4 was crazy, and I'm really excited to dive back in, but more specifically, how faithful it feels to the original, but also the fact that they were somehow able to maintain that original feel and keep it up to speed with Resident Evil 2 remake, the Resident Evil 3 remake. It still feels like a continuation of, Leon Kennedy from the second one. Still looks like him, obviously, but it's like evolved mechanics on that. You notice the parrying system and the dodging system just kind of brought it to that next level of like, okay, they want to go arcadey. They still want to keep the vibes spooky to a degree, and it's a little bit darker in tone, but there's still that, the everybody go to bingo, like all his lines and everything. It feels faithful, and I think that's the most important part.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like, there's even down to the fact that, like, there's some side quests in the game where they're like, oh, yeah, shoot the blue things. You just did it on your screen right there. And I'm like, wait a minute. I remember this shit. And, like, there's some of them are in the same spots they were in the original.
Really?
So, yeah, so I don't know how far you ended up getting. You probably got farther than I did. But you know that, like, big fish, tadpole, shark fucking thing?
Yeah, in the lake?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you're going off towards the lake, I remembered playing this game back in high school, and I was like, man, where is this last one over here? And I remember looking behind me at the dock and like underneath in between where the water and the dock is. And I was like, there it is. And so I'm playing again. I'm like, I wonder. And I look there and it's there. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, there's certain little things that they did that were just like perfect. They were calls to what they did before, but they modernized it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, the parrying is a huge new step because those older. Yeah.
Because then they do away with it feeling sort of dated or feeling like it's of the time, and they brought it up to current time where even people who weren't even born when that game came out.
Yeah, no, for real, right.
About it,
That's why
like, oh, this is incredible, and you never had to experience standing still and shooting, and then having them rush you, and then stopping and turning around and running for your life. You didn't have to experience that. You didn't have to.
Yeah, nah.
Quality of life improvements.
We eating now.
It took a picture of me holding up the Resident Evil 4, like the remake case, and then the OG GameCube case. And somebody commented and said, I wasn't even alive for the GameCube one, but it looks incredible. I was like, please, don't age us. Don't do that. Stop.
05.
I felt
the original was 05. Wow.
Yeah.
Eons ago.
So long ago.
A long time.
There are people watching right now who were like, I literally was born 2 years after that.
That's crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, Resident Evil has been kind of like my obsession right now. We've only been progressing on stream, so anything that's captured on YouTube is just a very compressed piece of the entire playthrough. And it's also unedited. Like, we edit it for YouTube, for like the more broader audience, but it's completely unedited. Lots of cuss words, lots of cursing, lots of audience interactions, both with the live audience and the studio audience, diving in with their applause and their boos and all that. So
Yeah.
good time.
Remind the people again, where can people go to see more of this wonderful action that they're seeing on their screens right now?
YouTube.com/Mavattack, or anywhere. Just type in Mavattack. There's only one Mavattack. That's it.
There can be only one.
There is only one. Well, there's only one of me, Mavattack, but there's a little bit of Mavattack in all of us. So, yes.
Okay.
Anywhere you type it in, you'll see it. It's all over the place.
I could dig it.
And also, speaking of games, sorry, real quick, because
Yes.
I'm really excited about games. Have you tried Deceive Inc.?
Yes.
Pretty damn fun. Pretty good evolution of competitive FPS games.
Yes. Yes.
That's the one with like you could change. It's more deception.
Yeah, it's like
1950s. Spy versus spy. Yeah.
You got NPCs walking around. You could change into a specific person. There's like different levels of security access. They grant you like, higher progression towards the end goal. It's solid.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. The base premise reminded me a lot of the Assassin's Creed multiplayer stuff, but like FPS version.
Brought it back. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yes, yes.
Walking around, picking people's pockets, trying to get caught.
I liked the idea of that game, but I couldn't figure out how to get good at it. So I was like, fuck this game.
Happens to the best of us.
But for Deceit Inc., though, I agree. That game is like a really, really good, like, in between of, the typical deception style game, but like a shooter. Like, if you really wanted to, you could just go out there, balls to the walls. But I don't know that. What is your approach to your matches? Where do you find the most success?
Well, Lo likes to creep around and be as sneaky as possible, but we like a little bit of chaos. So sometimes it's fun to use a little bit of that deception and get your security access, kind of watch how people are moving. But once this shit hits the fan, I think that's where it gets the most fun, in my opinion. It's when, you finally figure out where the ultimate goal is to steal the treasure, steal the loot, whatever it is. So once that opens up and that's accessible, then it gets a little chaotic because everybody has to all together move to that center chamber, hack that security program or whatever to get the treasure or the item. And that the moments leading up to that are just like the anticipation before the storm.
Yeah.
So while I like the whole prep phase, I love when it's finally, the vault is there, it's time to go in, and guns blazing is usually the approach. Yeah. The game has so many different gadgets and different ways you can play. Each of the agents have different weapons. There's so many different approaches. You got the bounce pad that can block doorways, and you can transform into just everyday objects. Like you can be a chair. I was just walking down the hallway as a chair. People are like, what the fuck is this chair doing? Excuse me. Yeah, it's hilarious. I love it.
Yeah,
it's solid. It's solid.
We definitely got to play that because hopefully custom games are coming too, so we can get like a group of people together and just fucking chaos.
Yeah, custom games would be awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
What else you playing?
So we recently dove into the Fatal Frame, I believe it's a Fatal Frame 5 remake. Well, not remake, but like a remaster. It was the one that came out on the Wii, but they recently decided to re-release it and kind of update it for updated consoles. And that was nice. We only got a few hours into that, but I could tell it's going to be one of those, like, you're going to spend a lot of time sort of unraveling this story and getting adjusted to, because that Fatal Frame has one of the most insane combat mechanics. It's not a gun, it's a camera.
Yeah.
You're still shooting, but it's just pictures.
Yeah.
So, it's a good game so far. I like it. The Fatal Frame series is a solid horror series, though, with some decent jump scares.
Yeah.
Creepy, sort of like Ringu vibes. Yeah, like grudge-like creatures coming out of the woodwork, following you around. And they're all just tortured souls. You're just trying to release them. So it's a good one. Recommend looking into that for sure.
I definitely want to. I want to play more horror games in general because RE4 was like bringing it back. And I'm just like, man, I remember why I love this series and this game so much. Just because they just brought the horror and the action, and they gave you both intention.
Right.
So good.
And it feels like that perfect balance. Also, you're speaking of horror games, the Outlast Trials comes into beta soon. So definitely dive in because they had a big wave of creators and press who got their hands on some gameplay and some earlier stuff, but cooperative. It's got like different like scenarios and segments to go through. It looks insane. And you can defend yourself.
Oh, you can defend now. Really?
Perhaps like little explosive devices and ways to sort of manipulate the enemies in a way.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been waiting for that because I enjoyed Outlast 1 and 2, but like running away, it gets tiring after a while.
Yeah, it sure does. Real quick, on the overlay for your podcast, I'm the audio lover, and Mavattack's face is huge, so... Yeah.
Wow. I see it now.
No,
keep it like that. I like it.
Nah, listen.
Like
because the camera came on and Discord don't like that. Discord don't like that.
Yeah. I was hoping that wouldn't mess you up too much, just a little bit. But,
listen. That's just the way shit goes. All right, roll with the punches.
It's the chaos. You gotta embrace the chaos.
That's right.
You titled it what you titled it. That's on you.
It's on me. This is literally all my fault. Like all of it.
Hey, it's all a part of the show, folks.
It's all part of the show. Listen, look, Audio Lovers is gonna be a big face for a second. Just don't worry about it. He's a big, beautiful face in your face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's on purpose. It's all part of it.
It was all intentional. It was part of the plan.
Yep.
Let me just move that over there. Move this over here. Look at that. He's a human again. It's not just a face.
Huge face.
Yeah. There we go. Perfect. We have come back into the realm of order. So
For now.
Shit, right? For now. Let's jump into our interview section where we learn what makes Mav Attack tick. First and foremost, I want to know where the name come from.
Okay, you know what? For this one, I'll let Lo answer this one because it started way before I started. So we'll let him dive in. Okay. So yeah. So hello. So initially it was, I had an old YouTube channel because, my name is Angelo and I kind of had created this username that was just like an older thing that was like based on my dad at the time. Like it was just an old username. And then I was going to college. I was going to school, wanted to start a brand new channel. But I was going to a school in Central Florida. So it kind of had like divides like the palm trees and, I was associating it with like the, like the new retro wave, sort of
like Miami Vice,
neon 80s, yeah, like future 80s sort of thing. And then that was kind of the theme for like the branding, the color palette and everything. But the name specifically was Mav is short for Maverick, and I always felt like maybe. I was definitely felt like somebody who never really fit in like a whole lot. I felt like I always was rubbing against the grain, and that being like that for a long time, you definitely feel like an outsider, even among your peers. And specifically in school, there were only a couple people that I really like vibed with. I knew everybody in the class and everything, but anyway, I felt like sort of an outcast, sort of just somebody who was just like doing their own thing, going at their own pace or whatever. And then because I was starting a new channel, I had gotten advice from a YouTuber that I was watching at the time where it was like, if you want to do this and take it a little more seriously, don't necessarily go into it aimless. Have a purpose or a goal, or at least something that you want to focus on before you get started into it, whatever it is. And I knew I didn't want it to just be a hobby. Otherwise, my mindset would have been a little bit different.
Right.
So I knew that I wanted to cover video games. I wanted to review them, do like talk pieces, things like that. So that's kind of where the attack came in, was more so like kind of forcibly coming into these games and saying like, here's why it sucks or here's why it's great. And it was a much more direct, a very surface level approach, because as time went on, I learned to come that it's not just as simple as saying, well, here's why it sucks and they should have did better. It's obviously way more to that. But yeah, so it was kind of like me sort of just doing my own thing, that not a lot of people understood what I was doing. And I felt outcasted because of it, but I was also, attacking these video games and attacking these developers in a maybe not so malicious way.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of just like
coming at them like, yeah, let's see what's going on with this.
Yeah, and mashed them together. And then I used some, like I said, the imagery of like the palm trees, and then Maverick is like a horse, which it has finally come, as Roland has made it clear to me, it's finally come full circus, because full surface, because Maverick is like a horse, and now I wear donkey ears, so I guess there's kind of like a parallel somewhere in there, something. So anyway, that's kind of just briefly how it began, and then it started moving into all different kinds of other things. I guess went more into entertainment instead of just analytical.
Okay, I can dig it. So in terms of, I guess, the games that you covered then and the games that you cover now, what would you say has been like your, I guess, most consistent thing that you've kind of done? Because everyone has their favorite genre, favorite game, but like, what have you gravitated towards as like a content creator?
Yeah, it's actually a tough one. Is to put it simply, aside from just saying variety as a cop out, it would probably be either shooters or horror games, because I could say story, but a lot of shooter games and horror games have stories, and there's a lot of story-based games that aren't that, but aside from it just being variety, I think I've just kind of gravitated towards what I've liked, what has stuck with me, and that's kind of been it.
Okay, I think that makes sense. And that's
things that have been. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that's kind of like where I saw a lot of your content when we first met was within the horror theme, and then like shooters too. Okay. So I didn't know if there was like, many people. I'm an action RPG streamer mostly, but like my favorite series is Metal Gear Solid, which is like not an RPG at all.
Yeah. No, yeah, I understand that for sure. Yeah, it's just more so variety. Like as time went on, it was more like which game is going to help kind of boost the entertainment value of what we're doing as far as commentary or just goofing off. But there's obviously the entertainment side and what's fun for the viewers, and then what I enjoy to actually play. So it kind of varies, but yeah.
What would you say has been? I want to ask this without like getting. What would you say has been the most challenging part about being a creator? Because for anyone watching at home, both you and I share the fact that we both had to take time off from streaming and jumping back into that. So we'll jump into that question after too. But what has been the most challenging thing about being a content creator for you? Another hard question.
Yeah. Because I was going to get more specific, but I think I can kind of broaden it and say that, when you're doing something on any sort of public platform, especially sort of jumping into the unknown of what that platform is, like I started kind of like taking it a little more seriously in 2013, 2014, but it was still in its infancy at that time. Mm-hmm. And man, it just, you don't really know what you're walking into until you walk into it. And then it's assessing everything after that point. I think the hardest thing was to figure out, heal, connect to, get back to myself amidst a sea of fans or viewers, whatever you want to call them, supporters, your peers who might have the good or the not so good intentions for you, things that come with rising up in popularity, or things that come with not being solid or stable in yourself and how you feel about certain things, or not being secure in who you are, because then all the stuff from the outside can come in and kind of creep in on you and change how you are as a core, and that could ultimately make you look like a bad person, like, and that's whether you care about image or not. It can turn you into, or at least for a brief second, put on a disguise or a mask that isn't truly yourself. And whether that's from the social aspect, whether that you end up changing because of the numbers game or fame or whatever that comes from that. So I guess to simplify it, it's just
staying true. Yeah.
Not letting all these influences change how you are, change your relationships, change how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the world. When you know who you are deep down, and I guess that nothing else should matter at the end of the day. And that was, I think, the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was, going into the question I was alluding to earlier, what was it like jumping back into this world after taking time off? Because you took like, I don't remember the exact, I feel like it was like 9 months at least.
It was 2 years.
Oh, it was 2 years. All right, bro. Like, I was like, wow. I was like, I haven't seen anything from Mav no Grit, but my perception of time is all fucked up, especially after COVID.
Like close to 2 years, I think, because I stopped in around 2019.
Right before COVID, that's what it was. God damn.
Yeah, and then COVID hit, and I didn't create any. Like, it was just like, let me figure this out. Let me find out where so many things went wrong, and just on every level, on personal, business, spiritual, all of it. You know, everything that encompasses us as humans, and whether you believe in spirituality or, you know, like if we have souls or not. Like, I'm definitely somebody who believes in that we're not just a human body with, you know, organs. I think that this is our vehicle, and, you know, we have like higher selves that are the drivers. But it was 2 years, and then returning was very overwhelming, because number one, not a lot of people knew that we returned, so it was a constant sort of like crawling out of the trenches to try and get back to some form of normalcy, or at least trying to get back to those points where we were at before, which it is tough when you have sort of a foundation or a solid point, and then it's gone, and then now you've kind of have this subconscious standard that's been set, which is not easy to break from. But not only that, but the whole climate of digital content creation and creators, and I mean, COVID brought everybody in the house, and so the internet is all, you know, so it was like I missed the Among Us and all the Phasmophobia stuff, and then obviously TikTok blew up, and so I'm coming back to this right, this platform that, or this, I guess this different world that is.
Did you have an issue with like relevancy? Like, was it like when you were trying to come back in, did you have an issue of like, am I still going to be relevant in this new space? A
little bit, yeah. I would lie if that wasn't a thought. Like, is like, oh, so many new creators have come in, and it's like, is there room for me? And it's like at a certain point, I was like, I'm gonna make room. Fuck that. Like, there is room, and we're gonna do it a different way. But also something that was harder to grasp was the short form thing.
Oh God,
I've always been a, like, you know, long form, put quality into it, regardless of what it is, whether you're doing video essays or gameplay, whatever it is, like, put some quality in. And not to say that the short form is a lack of quality, but it's definitely like, just get some crap out, boom, crap. Like, it just looks like it. So it's like, to do it to a quality standard and to do it frequently and consistently is very difficult.
Extremely.
Not impossible, but it's you got to work up to it. So
yeah, I completely empathize, and I'm with you on that. Like, even now, I'm still like, am I even relevant anymore? Like, sometimes I get on and I'm like, I try not to look at my numbers, because like it's wildly different for everyone now, especially because like I'm used to seeing some people. There was a time where you could see people with 200-300 people in their chat all the time. And this ain't even any of us. I'm talking about like people who are used to like constantly like getting maybe 30, maybe 20. And I know for me, when I was getting like 100 people per stream, to come back and then to see it to be only 10, to see maybe 20 every once in a while, maybe 30. It's weird. It feels so weird. I know it's not a reflection of like who we are as creators and like our status or anything, but it's just like,
it messes you. It messes with you.
Yeah, like it's things are different, but like what specifically is different? Is it me? Is it the people's attention span? Are they not watching streams anymore? Is it like I need to be better? Like,
yeah, and those feelings are all completely valid, whether they, you know, are like an indication of where you see your self-worth or your value is like in those numbers or not. Like, regardless of how secure or not you are because of that stuff, or how that seeps in, it doesn't make it feel any less of a thing. Like, it doesn't take away from the experience as a whole of the feeling like that. And because you could be very secure in what you're doing. Like, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. I know what I provide, whatever. But yeah, to see like only a couple people see that, then it's like this like conflicting sort of like, is that the truth? And then it's like, you gotta have those times where you're like, nope, stand firm on that. Like, if you believe it, then you believe it. And if there's people who come in and see that you believe it, like, you know, you spread that, you put that out there too. Whereas like if you have those like kind of like cracks in your boat a little bit, and it's like, oh, we're kind of going down, I feel like, at least for me, people can feel that. they can feel like I don't feel confident in my work, so maybe like other people might not necessarily feel that. And if I weigh their opinions or their feelings about that in high regards, then maybe that like validates those feelings a little bit more, if that makes sense.
So no, that does make sense.
Stand strong on knowing that you got some dope shit, and who cares what anybody says? Like, it's easier said than done, but you know, if you feel good about what you're doing, yeah, like it shouldn't matter. Doesn't mean it's not a thing, but yeah,
that's true. Audio, I feel like you was about to ask something right when I asked something too.
No, you're good. I should have wrote it down because I don't remember. No, well, because it's one of those things. Like, I definitely understand where you guys are coming from, and both of you are doing are doing way higher numbers than I am. But I've gotten some success on breaking 1,000 views, 2,000 views, things like that. And when I make my content, especially, you know what? I got it. So between the short form and the long form content, did you feel that you needed to make that short form content to make yourself relevant? Like, did you feel like if I don't make this content, if I'm still making the same type of content, not like as far as the content itself, because you've obviously evolved, but like the same format of content, did you feel like you were going to be irrelevant? Like, did you feel that was going away?
I felt it were necessary to not do the same thing that I was doing for a long time. Like, I could create the same sort of like entertainment value, but the format has to be to kind of fit in. As much as the whole Maverick thing, it's been like, it's definitely like not something where, you know, I like to go with the crowd necessarily. That's just the type of person that I am. However, there are things that if you're, especially in your career or things in life, that you don't necessarily have to like, but you have to embrace that stuff.
Yes.
And, you know, my wife Roland has definitely helped a lot and pushed me in that direction, because she's very much in tune with short form and posting content all the time, reels, shorts, all that stuff. So it's a very it was a difficult hill to get over, but I got pushed aside all my stubbornness and was like, okay, let me embrace it. And there's a part of me deep down that thinks that this won't be for the long term. This is a very short term thing anyway. And so, you know, I'm just kind of like riding it out, joining along, but embracing all the changes.
Yeah. I feel like similar to how like Vine kind of came and went, maybe there will come a time where this idea of short form just dominating the market will like come and go. So it's like you said, it's really important to just be able to pivot when that time comes, because this environment, this space changes so much all the time. Like, people's attention spans are like the spans of goldfish. Like, if you got 15 seconds to get their attention and that's all you get, and like, it's frustrating. You know, five.
No, seriously, you got five. Yeah. I think it's sometimes less than that, to be honest, man. Like, especially because it used to be that 15 seconds, but like, people are swiping up in two. People are swiping up in two. Like, if your first few words are not what they want to hear, next thing.
Crazy.
That's a universal thing too. It's obviously it's important to not like put all your eggs in one basket. So it's cool to diversify, and I don't see the harm in like diving into short form while you're working on your other stuff to kind of keep that momentum and fill the gaps of the time that's spent working on the other things. But also in relation to the attention span thing, I mean, for music specifically, that's been a thing for a long time. It's especially with like, you know, like record executives or like A&Rs. I have like a little bit of just a tiny bit of knowledge of the music industry, just a tad, but I know that there's people who are looking for music specifically. They'll listen to a couple seconds, and if it doesn't hit you, so it's kind of translates to a consumer thing where it's like, now it's like, if it's not hitting for me, I'm swiping. That's it.
That's crazy.
The music has changed a lot, man.
There's no build-up of music anymore unless you specifically listening to house or dubstep, which dubstep ain't even a thing anymore.
Like, I mean, listen, at least in hip hop, there's been definitely a change in how music has evolved, especially like with the Drake era and then the Spotify era. So you look at the Jay-Z era, which when like he made Blueprint, literally the blueprint from the Blueprint, every album after that emulated that track list, right? Like you have your intro, your hard-hitting song, your single, your lead single, then your second single. Like the way Jay-Z's Blueprint is literally a blueprint for every album. Like, legitimately speaking.
Yeah.
Like that's why he released that way. And then Drake kind of he didn't create it, but he standardized how the song structure should be, the two verse structure, right? Like songs used to be whatever it was. You have 3 verses, hook, whatever. Sometimes you have songs with 2 verses, but that was not the norm. Nowadays, norm. Now, actually, since Drake, it was the norm. But nowadays, it's like
you can't find a song with 3 or 4 verses. Yeah,
they barely have 2. Like it's like hook, verse, hook, done. Like let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I guess the industry as a whole is just evolving.
So, final question before we get on to the rest of the podcast. This is the final question that I have. What would you say is your next step in terms of creation, or in terms of like, I don't know, merch or like, you know, what's coming?
Okay. I'll let Mav Attack answer this one. So yeah, we got quite a bit going. For now, this past month and some change has just been to gain the momentum, to pop out of the box and to kind of show, hey, like we're here to act a fool, act silly, be hee hee ha ha, goofy, make stupid faces, all that stuff, just to let people know that it's okay to have fun and to laugh and to look ridiculous. But we want to take this sort of away from the studio. Obviously, we have, if you catch our Twitch streams or shows, we have our main stage. You know, we have like all the green screen stuff set up and everything. But we're taking the steps to get out around people, to interact with people, just random people, you know what I mean? Like working outside. So whether that be going to a place to do like a food, like a type of food challenge or something, or just to talk to the public, maybe prank the public, things of that nature. But then also incorporating some music type content into our stuff as well moving forward. we have a big notepad here. Not to spill too much, but yeah, it's more so like features, and getting out and creating things that have stories and can keep the audience engaged, instead of like you had featured on screen, which I was looking kind of cute. Nav moments of the past month. So that's like some of the best moments of our past month of creating. So those are fun to do, but we want to try and push forward for more engagement, more getting out in front of people, street performance type stuff. So yeah, it'll go from in studio to out, and I think that's another natural evolution of the creation as a whole.
Okay. I know I said there was one last question, but this is my last question. My wife and I have been like making every once in a while some content together, right? Well, you know, we have this cat video we put up together, or, you know, we're like doing home improvement stuff. What's it like working with Roland, because both of you, before you even met, were content creators already. And what's that been like? Like you mentioned earlier how like she motivates you to do a lot more short form content, and you know she's consistently like always making stuff, always doing stuff. So that must have been like crazy to see when you weren't making content, and now to go back into it.
Yeah. No. Well, Lo definitely was like, I don't like this short form stuff. Oh, it's not the future. It's just a fad here and there. But we said, shut up. Shut the fuck up. Embrace it. Be quiet. You don't have to like it, but you have to embrace it, bucko. But no, she's been a huge support, not just helping get Mavattack up and running. We literally couldn't do it without her. But to be able to have somebody who's even more creative, has more of a forward vision, can see a little bit forward as to what's happening. Sometimes the decisions, even we don't even understand. She'll make a decision and be like, okay, we'll go with that. And then we'll see, a few months down the road, it's like, oh, that's what you meant. Like she
do be seeing the future. She do.
She understands the climate and where things are going and moving, and she's very in tune with creating on all different levels, having different accounts, different realms, doing all different kinds of things. So it's been helpful, not just on a supportive and a creative standpoint, but just for drive. It's really nice to have somebody in your space who is doing the things that you're doing, who wants to do the things that you want to do, and it helps with that. With the passion, it helps.
It does.
A lot. Yes.
That's real. So, those were all the questions I had. I don't know if you have any extras, Audio Lover.
No, I think I'm good for now, man. I just recently got put onto the content, so I'm definitely going through. I'm liking what I see, and I'm gonna keep looking out. Honestly,
he's always had fun energy about him, so that's something that I'm glad has continued on.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of things have changed. We have only been doing this sort of thing for a small amount of time, but you'll see the past stuff. There's definitely been glimpses of Lo called himself Mav Attack, but Mav Attack hasn't truly been here until I arrived. Which I feel like
it takes time for the evolution.
Right, that's been the build up, and now it's Lo knows who he is. He feels good about who he is. And I know who the fuck I am. It feels great to finally be here and be able to be as ridiculous and foolish as possible. Yeah.
I love it.
Yes. So what has everyone, we're getting into the meat of the podcast outside of the interview, which was great. By the way, make sure y'all follow Mav Attack, please, and thank you.
Thank you.
And follow, I can't use words. Follow Audio Lover too.
Yeah. Follow don't hurt.
So I would hand this over to Audio Lover because he had some things about Lance Reddick's legacy that we wanted to go over.
Yeah. He passed recently. I want to say within the last 2 weeks. Things blur, so I think it was the week prior. John Wick 4 just came out, and he has a great legacy past that age 60. So
I was surprised. I didn't know he was 60.
Yeah, right.
I had no idea.
Right. But I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense because The Wire was 90 something 2000.
Yeah. It was a grip ago.
But yeah, man, he's been in a lot of things. And for someone of his caliber to not only do film and television, but embrace video games and do voiceovers, because not a lot of actors, right? Like live action actors embrace the voiceover stuff other than maybe a Disney animation, because Disney is paying or DreamWorks is paying. Let's be honest about it, right? Like when we talk about video games, a lot of people are like, video games, and especially nowadays within that last 10-year time span, I feel like with the mocap and everything like that, a lot more actors are embracing it, but he's embraced it for quite some time. And he should definitely get granted, other than the video games, his television and film outstanding, but in video games as well, he should definitely get a nod, a standing ovation.
Yeah, he was in quite a few games actually. He was in Quantum Break.
Yeah.
Which was most people haven't heard of Quantum Break because it came out on the Xbox.
The Xbox, yeah, I know that.
It came out.
A solid game.
Yeah,
I didn't know he was in it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was in it. Let me just double check and make sure I got my facts right.
Let me double check on what else, because I know he was on Horizon, and I know he was on Destiny. Those two I definitely played.
Yep.
And I remember him being on Destiny and him getting, them doing a thing for him on Destiny is definitely great, because he's like the main guy on Destiny, right? He's the guy you got to get your quest from if you play Destiny, all that stuff. Like, he's that dude.
Yes.
So
and his voice is always iconic.
Yeah, like, you cannot play that game and not know he's in the game, just point blank period.
Right. Yeah, he was in, and I was like, I know I saw him, and I saw him in, like, because what Quantum Break did, which Xbox just, anyway, they did the like TV show video game thing. They just wanted to push TV as much as possible, so they made everything about TV, including their games.
They were too early. I'm sorry, they
weren't even too early. It's just not something that people really want that much.
People do want it.
They want,
because people want it. The Last of Us wouldn't be happening.
People want shows of it, but they don't want their like main experience of gaming to be about the show, if that makes sense.
I would argue, but that's another day. That's another day. I would argue.
More acceptable in this climate right now is what you're saying. It would be like people would be okay with that idea versus like being like, what is this? We just want the game.
Yeah. I feel like 2014, 2013, I think it was a little too early. I think people didn't realize it. It was the way it was going. Yeah. And it was always going that way. I think there was a small minority that maybe wanted it, and the majority was just, like they didn't understand, they didn't see the vision. And now it's just transmedia is everywhere. Like that's what's happening. They just want it done right. I think that's what it really was. I think that's what the issue actually was.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
Because prior to 2013, there were not a lot of good video game adaptations or video game television film crossover adaptations that were good. And that was the problem.
I'll still argue that so the idea of like the Halo show, for example, that shit's cool because you play the game. All right, now we get to experience Halo in this different way, right? It doesn't even have to be exact to what Halo did in its themes. It just has to be like in spirit the same, right? Same thing with The Last of Us. Like, they changed a bunch of shit in The Last of Us.
They did.
But they kept the spirit of what it was the same. I liked the idea of Quantum Break, but again, their whole hook,
what was Quantum Break?
Quantum Break was a game
how was that play?
Quantum Break was a game that you played, and throughout your play session, the decisions that you made also affected what happened in the show, or rather,
so there was a show.
Oh yeah, no. Well, the show was in the game. So while you're playing, it's like showing you the show, and it's like,
okay,
I want to still be playing.
Okay.
And so it's literally removing you from the act of playing.
Okay, that's different. That's not
But imagine somehow you play the game, you link it to like a Netflix account. And then you know how Netflix has interactive games?
Yes.
What if it took the data from your game and it tailored the show based on how your game played?
Okay.
That would be kind of crazy.
That'd be dope.
Right. I'm kind of with that.
That'd be dope. I mean, that's kind of what Telltale did.
Too early.
Yeah, I'm kind of with that.
What'd they do with that?
Telltale, they did that actually with they did that with a few of their games, actually. If I'm not mistaken, they did that with The Wolf Among Us. So what they did was, people who play The Wolf Among Us, the first one, or the first chapters, they took a tally of everybody who did the particular things, and like whatever choice most people made, they actually made that kind of like the standard choice moving forward for the rest of the story. So like, if you chose to keep someone alive versus killing them, there was like some clause. Then there was like, they're going to now make something else happen because people chose this.
Not bad.
Okay.
So they got a little something.
I don't want to deviate too much.
You're right.
I want to circle back to the Lance thing. But is there anything you guys want to say about it? Anything you remember or enjoyed, like your favorite experience, favorite performance of his?
I'm trying to think about where else because I know he was in a bunch of stuff, but it was all like so many different things.
I got something. So I didn't I didn't see him before, like the past maybe like the past 5 years. Like, he was in the original John Wick movie, correct? Mm-hmm. So maybe that point is where I first like kind of noticed it, not noticed him, but took note of his abilities. And he's incredible in that. Saw some behind the scenes of him sort of discussing his character in the John Wick films, and they were saying, he was from Africa, or was he Nigerian specifically?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah, they mentioned that he was from there, but he didn't have to do an accent. He was talking about how, we want to give this character a little more depth. We want to give him this sort of authority and make him feel like, he actually comes from a place of where he's of, I guess, higher status or authority in the place where he comes from. But it was that sort of creative switch where it's like you see, the person, the artist, whoever they're playing, inject their feedback into that character to boost or enhance that. And I think that's really incredible for, an actor or an artist to go into a role, to be able to boost it up like that. It really shows that, film, television, whatever the medium may be, that it's like a collaborative effort in its fullest, because he could have just went along with that and just showed up to the job and been like, cool, but it would have probably changed the dynamic of the character, and even the story, it wouldn't have given that sort of layer. And also a more recent performance, which actually was a little bit more memorable for me because it was a little more recent, regardless of how you feel about it. The Resident Evil show, the kind of reimagining, retelling.
Yeah.
He was Wesker, the villain, kind of.
Yeah,
but
I didn't see it yet, but I still want to.
Yeah, no, it's without spoiling. Well, because hopefully that Wesker is supposed to be the villain in the main ones, but it's kind of a different adaptation, not necessarily, but it has a whole different twist. Anyway, he did a phenomenal job at sort of giving this a warm, comforting father figure at times, and the hey, I'm in charge, don't cross me.
Yeah,
I want to fuck you up.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think he's had incredible range. Like the range has been so, just from the very few performances that I've seen, and it's really sad that somebody who's so involved in their industry, like to that degree, has passed on. But
yeah, I feel like my most memorable performance of his was definitely in Horizon. The Horizon, the first one. I still haven't played through all of the second one yet, but he was again, like you said, like I think one of the consistent things about all the performances that I've seen of him is that he's always had like this dignified but powerful position. Even in John Wick, where he was like technically the servant of all the people working for the establishment. Like he was also like the dude in charge of the establishment while it was there, right? So like he was holding everything together, right? So he's always, like you said, had this kind of higher presence to the roles that he has. So that's the thing that I've always appreciated about his performances. But it was Horizon that really stuck out to me because he was the dichotomy of like he's helping you, but he's also got his own motives. But it's also like this figure of power. But also he's like knowledge, right?
Mm-hmm. That's he was dope in Horizon.
Yes. I think switching gears now to, and by the way, chat, if y'all have any moments or performances of Lance's that you'd also like to throw in there, feel free to do so.
I see some people saying The Wire, which he was the captain.
Yes,
Chief Wire, I believe.
I still haven't seen The Wire, so I feel like a bad consumer of content. Okay,
I saw season 1, but like way back in the day, like around when it was out.
Yeah, I heard everyone say it was amazing though.
It was really good, man.
Yeah,
really good.
Okay. this is a hot topic for a number of reasons. Let's talk about the Activision Microsoft acquisition. I think months ago we got on the podcast to talk a little bit about like what that may mean or what could happen. And now we're like closer and closer to it actually happening, but there's still some resistance.
Yeah.
I want to hear your overall thoughts about this, about like where we're at with this and the fact that it still hasn't happened, but it still could happen.
Whoever goes first, it don't matter to me.
I mean, I just don't have like a whole lot of knowledge on this one, so I do remember seeing it in headlines, but going forward, does that mean that a lot of these Activision Blizzard games are going to end up on Game Pass? Is in our notes? Is it like a kind of like a Microsoft Flex, like we're slowly trying to absorb as much as we can to sort of keep that exclusivity? Is Microsoft trying to make up for a past of a little bit of disappointment? Because I believe even the CEO of Microsoft mentioned like, hey, we've been letting gamers down.
Yeah.
And you know, we over here, we kind of just play anything on any play. We own all the platforms, so it's not really a focus. But I know there's a lot of people who are very diehard fanboys of these consoles.
Yeah.
Still, excuse me. So it's always like, you know, is this going to change the entire industry, or is this just another piece in that bigger puzzle?
It's a wonderful question, and I think it's something that a lot of people are still wondering. And
it could. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, because I definitely think it could change a lot in the industry. It all depends on, and not even from the console level, just gaming in general. We've seen what Netflix did. We've seen what Netflix did.
Yeah.
Right?
How it just completely destroyed every other type of.
Why couldn't Game Pass do that to Steam? Why couldn't it do that to the Epic Game Store? Right? Like, that has nothing to do with, I'm not even talking about consoles. Like, if you effectively, if you release something day one on Game Pass, even on PC, like, why the hell am I going to purchase it on Steam? Like, why in my right mind would I actually want to do that? Like, it's going to be on the.
And
you're talking about like Call of Duty.
Right. I'm very nervous about where this goes from here. And here's why. Like,
that's how I feel. I don't think it has anything to do with fanboyism. And I think that's the main talking point. But go ahead, Oni. I'm sorry.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off. You keep going.
Go, because I definitely want to hear.
So like my biggest fear at this point is like where we are in the world. Like, AI art is now this like massive juggernaut of a force, and I've used it before to see what it can do and what it's capable of outputting. And it once you figure out how to really use it, it's fucking insane. So we're now reaching this point in our society where I feel like a lot of our experiences have just been cheapened overall. Where like we talked about the short form content and like how our attention spans as a species has gotten so low that like even having regular conversations with people outside of social media or just like in real world, it's like, all right, where are you going with this? Like I catch myself sometimes like not liking small talk anymore because like the idea of like just talking to people without like needing to get something right out of it. We're so used to this instant gratification in our world. And video games, regardless of how much AI art you use to produce them, are still extremely expensive to make. They take a ridiculous amount of time to make. And even when we have the tools to make all that easier, it's still work we have to do to make it good. And maybe AI will allow us to just fucking do that automatically too. I don't know. But like, then what are we consuming anymore? Is it a thing that people came together to make, or is it just like what we've been told we want? And I'm like, I feel like I love Game Pass, especially because like, you know, as a freelancer, especially, I'm able to get a lot out of that subscription. I can download many different games. I can download but what is that actually doing to the studios over the long run? What is that actually doing to the gaming space in the long run? Like, why would I spend the money on the thing when I can just get that and like 30 other games releasing in the next few months for $15? And I don't, it doesn't seem like a sustainable thing. And it doesn't seem sustainable as like a player to like have to consume that much to get your value out of it. Yeah. And it doesn't seem sustainable for the developers, even though they get paid by Microsoft for doing this. And some studios, it's really good for them because a lot of people might not have tried them out unless it was on there.
Or Sony. I mean, granted, we're talking about, the Microsoft deal, but Sony with their PlayStation Plus Extra.
Yeah.
Amazon with Luna.
Yeah. Right? Netflix with whatever they're about to do.
And Netflix got some games, man. I like their mobile games. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, there ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't know. I think we've gotten to that point where like it's just gotten so hard to justify the prices, but also like if no one is buying games anymore and only playing a handful of them at a time, then what's the incentive to then like really make these games great, as opposed to just make it quick, make it easy, make it accessible, and make it 9 hours.
The median is different, man, because I mean I know other medians in the industry, television, film, music, go through the streaming, but like music, you could listen to a song, 1,000,000 times, right? A movie you could watch 12 times, and you could watch a dozen different movies, right? And get to beginning to end. Music, same thing. Games is like, it's so different. It's so different because you could really only play and remember one game at a time, maybe 2 games at a time. But like once you start, getting into your games as a service or several long form games, it's like, what happened in this one? How do I right? Like, how do I not shoot, but like, what are the mechanics again on this game versus that game? And you'll be like, yo, I forgot how to play this game. I got to start over or whatever. Games are totally different, man. Totally different. And do you need like 400 different games in your backlog?
I have that right now and it's insane. So like I'm trying to play those games at least at some point, but I don't know. I like about the acquisition specifically, I feel like this is going to sound rude, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go ahead.
Microsoft had the audacity to lay off, how much was it? 10,000 workers?
Yeah, that's right.
And they're probably laying off more as our recession is like imminent.
Plus redundancies.
Right? Of course, that happens in the tech industry. But it's okay for them to purchase Activision Blizzard when you're just kind of like letting go of these people's livelihoods just to flex and say, all right, now we have this publishing juggernaut. And for what? Who is this? It is a flex. Who was this for? They bought all these other studios and other companies. They bought Rare. What have they done with that? They've bought Ninja Theory. Right. What have they done with that? They've bought all these other people. And you can argue for a lot of these other games that came out from these studios, they just weren't to that level of quality that you would expect if they got bought by some publishing juggernaut who's giving them money. It's like, all right, what did we get out of that? Now you're buying Activision Blizzard for what? Just focus on what you're doing and what you have and invest in those things and make them better. Like the issue isn't the fact that they don't have games at all. It's that the games that they do have that are exclusive aren't that great. So like you need to be focusing on that before you start thinking about buying everyone else, because then it's going to be Capcom, then it's going to be Square Enix, because Square Enix, they've been slimming themselves down to get acquired. Like, they're going to be next.
Okay, so and that's the segue. Do you think Microsoft, after this acquisition, if this acquisition goes through, do you think they will have the ability to acquire another game studio unscathed?
Yeah, because at that point it's like, all right, well, actually, you know what? Monetarily, yes, but in terms of
Right.
if the FTC will jump in and be like,
That's what
y'all
I mean,
are fucking
unscathed.
forcing it. I think that's what's going to happen, because like if this acquisition goes through, like they're
Can
going to
they buy
own Call of
another
Duty,
studio
they're
unscathed?
going to own Overwatch, they're going to own Diablo, they're going to own StarCraft, they're going to own Crash Bandicoot, they're going to own Tenchu, they're going to own Tony Hawk's, bro. It's like, who is this really serving?
Plus Candy Crush.
I'm like, bro, they already own ZeniMax, they already own Bethesda, they already own all this other shit, and like, why do you need to buy them?
Mav Attack, what you think?
I'm a little confused. No, I think. Well, I think that natural competition in their industry or their realm could potentially be healthy for what it is, for where it's at. But I guess as long as they're not trying to sort of like dampen or make the industry as a whole more difficult for accessibility for people. Now, this isn't to say that, you know, this is going to impact people's lives and their jobs and everything. I'm not commenting on that, I guess, because I just don't understand. But I think as long as they're not acquiring all of these studios and then putting exclusivity on it, or saying, hey, like, you're not allowed to publish on a different platform, or you're not, and then kind of make a weird divide that's already there, kind of in a way. Well, if I guess we're looking at like fanboyism and all that stuff, or Xbox is best. As long as there's not a divide in platforms, which it's kind of hard for me to see that in the first place because of how popular cross-play and cross-platform play is getting.
Yes.
It's pretty much in every game now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a comment outside of that.
Do you think
that's valid?
Do you think they can maintain a consistent release on games with the amount of studios that they'll own? Because we've been seeing a lot of delays and things of that nature on a lot of their games.
Definitely.
So do you think they can kind of, because in my opinion, as far as that, I feel like you may not be able to release. But do you think you can release a consistent amount of games and keep the landscape of gaming, like people getting new games? From their
just published from Microsoft,
right, from them, right,
on
from
like
them.
Game Pass, or just
just from them, like
from them.
Yeah, whatever they want to release, no matter where it comes out, just from them.
Well, I guess I would need to know how many different studios and how many different titles they're currently working on, and what's long term and what's short term, because that's. You know, it's like if there's some that don't require, like they have smaller dev teams and it's not such a long development window, and they can get these smaller, more like consumable games out in the middle. It's just like the short form versus the long form content. You know what I mean? Maybe it's sustainable for them, but then if we're talking about Game Pass and supporting other publishers or other, you're just saying from them, but. I think as long as like Microsoft or Xbox is associated with it, people aren't really gonna care in the meantime. Okay. I don't really know. It's a hard question for me to answer. My brain hurts. Just a little bit.
So
if I had a little more knowledge, I'd probably be able to contribute a little bit more. So if I'm being a little more quiet, I'm just kind of taking everything in, trying to understand.
Yeah. My biggest thing is this. They've already acquired a ton of different studios. They've acquired publishers. In terms of acquiring a mega conglomerate publisher, Nightmare Gorilla in chat was like, Sony does the same thing. Not really. They acquire studios. They acquire games.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily acquire major publishers. And I think that's what I'm saying. I think this is going to open the door for that. So if you already don't like when it's exclusive content in general, you're really not going to like what's going to happen next, because all it takes is Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft to start doing the same thing. And now you've got publishers becoming exclusive to one particular platform. Now, Capcom, if Nintendo decides to buy Capcom, they can at any point say all Capcom games from now on are only Nintendo. And who's going to stop them?
What are three acquisitions? What are three acquisitions and mergers that you could see, would like to see, or wouldn't want to see in the industry?
I don't want to see this acquisition go through, because it's literally going to make room for every other acquisition that we're about to talk about right now. I think it's important for publishers and the big three to have relationships, strong relationships with these companies, and to produce things that entice other people. So if, let's say, for example, this goes through, my top three, it probably will. My top three is Square Enix, Capcom, and Konami. I want those all to go to Sony.
Oh, okay.
And I say that because they have consistently put their money where their mouth is in terms of investing in them to make those IPs that they've been, like Metal Gear Solid, for example. You'll note that in the original case, they went to a bunch of different publishers for that game, and Sony was like, "We'll take it. Yeah, we'll work with you."
I agree with that.
And they've consistently been supporting them throughout that entire engagement. It wasn't about how much I can bring in with this. It was like, I think this project is dope. Let's make some magic work.
Yeah. Their partnerships are strong.
Capcom with Street Fighter V. That game was never supposed to happen. But we weren't supposed to get another Street Fighter game. And Street Fighter 4 before that came out on the Xbox, and it came out on PS4, and it came out on PS3, and came out on PC. Street Fighter V was never supposed to happen, and Sony was like, we're happy to work with you on this because we believe in your product and we believe in what you do. It came out and it was dog shit, but they still continue to support them throughout that process. Now we're getting Street Fighter 6. The same thing can be said about a lot of other Capcom games, right? Like Capcom with Nintendo, they've worked with them on Resident Evil 4. Yeah. It was exclusive with them for a while. And again, like, I have no problem with games being exclusive or being timed exclusive. I think that's healthy for competition.
Yeah.
But then when you like buy the entire publisher itself, and it's like, well, everything's off the table. And one of the questions that was posed, Mav, when you asked, like, as long as it's not inaccessible to the other people, Microsoft bought Bethesda and was like, all right, now we're going to make Redfall exclusive, Starfield exclusive, and we're making our next other game exclusive. Like, they're making a whole bunch of exclusive games now that they bought them. Yeah. Even though they said that their idea is to make their stuff as accessible as possible to other people, that's true, but also not true. And again, there's nothing wrong with making exclusive content, but then you're buying like everything under this giant umbrella. It's like, bro, come on.
Right. 20 years worth, 30 years worth of experience and releases, and saying like, hey, no, now it's only for this. I get it.
I just hope nobody touches THQ Nordic. They're some of the best out there. I love them.
Who would that's one you wouldn't want to see get acquired?
My question is, I guess, whose best interest would it be in to acquire them, and how much money would that take? Because THQ Nordic is massive, and the amount of studios that they've absorbed and taken, not taken, but given life back to. Yes. There's so many series, different titles that have just completely rose from the dead because of them. That would be an interesting one.
Would you be mad if like Apple took them?
Oh wow!
I only asked because that was Microsoft's thought process on the Activision acquisition. They came out and said there are other entities outside of the game industry that want to get into the game industry. They want to acquire publishers. To
Amazon in the back, like.
Right.
I actually want Amazon to acquire a company, to be quite honest with you.
Because they have studios.
Specifically one company. I want them to acquire one publisher.
Is it Ubisoft?
It is Ubisoft.
I knew it. And why?
That is they need to acquire Ubisoft. That is the no-brainer. They should. Why? Because Ubisoft is the number one studio publisher right now that has taken transmedia to the next level. Everyone is playing catch up.
Okay, I can see that because they started with their Tom Clancy
every
shows,
single person,
movies,
comics, audiobooks, audio dramas.
Yeah,
I mean, they are literally like almost every franchise that they own has some form of fashion. You could find a comic, an audiobook or novel, a television or movie, whether it be independent or mainstream. Like they've done it. And what Amazon has currently as far as infrastructure, if they buy Ubisoft, you're talking about Audible, you're talking about Kindle, you're talking about
Amazon Prime Video,
Twitch, like everything. Everything.
And digital goods, because
and digital goods.
You feel about them, they've tried to slip NFTs in, and people are like, "Stop, enough."
Right?
Like, okay, well, in 15 years, when it's the norm, when it's regardless of how you feel, like that's a natural step in a different direction that could potentially give you those rights for the things that you buy online versus just physical, tangible goods, right?
Yep. But yeah, that's the one. I think that's the one. Like if Amazon wants to be taken seriously in this game space, they need someone like Ubisoft. I wouldn't want them to touch like a Take-Two or an EA or anything like that. But like I feel comfortable with Ubisoft,
especially because Ubisoft games are like I don't want to say down right now, but their most recent releases and their like upcoming games.
I'll say it. Ubisoft is good after year one. Period. Bro, literally since Black Flag, like, and Grant, I think maybe outside of like the what is it? Far Cry series, like It literally takes them a year.
Yeah, after the launch. Yeah.
After launch, and everything is like popping. You'd be like, yo, where was this game a year ago? Yeah. Because this is a hit.
Yeah, I agree.
This is a hit. Like, that's how it is with Ubisoft games.
Yeah.
Literally. But
let them cook. You just need time to
you got to let them cook. It's like everything from the Tom Clancy stuff. Look at Rainbow Six Siege.
I know. That launched in a sad state, but it's so good now. It's so good.
Freaking Ghost Recon. Even like their Assassin's Creed, the Division. Like, bro, like you took a year, you let that marinate.
For Honor,
For Honor still cooking.
They stick with their shit. I will say that too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
but you got to let them cook for a year. You got to let that cook.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, like honestly, I don't know. I feel like so much of the discussion is about like Microsoft and Sony, but Nintendo, like they've just kind of been doing their own shit.
You think like Nintendo needs to purchase anybody? I think
the whole point that I was making about they probably should, but they don't really need to because like they're in their own lane. Like they cultivated their own developers and their own studios. I mean, Mario Odyssey is still $60.
It is.
So, like, and people are still buying it.
Yeah.
You know, Pokemon, they actually, you know what? They need to acquire a new studio. They don't even need a new publisher. They need a new studio to help them with their Pokemon games because they've been fucking those up.
Yeah, which ones didn't you like? Because I just got my Switch and I'm playing a little bit of what is it, Shield right now?
Yeah, like Lawson said in chat, Scarlet and Violet were major oofs. Still fun to play because it's Pokemon and I love Pokemon. Okay. Everyone loves Pokemon, but like major oofs, like the technical issues, the graphical issues, the non-advancement of gameplay mechanics, and there's still no voice acting in it. Like.
There's no voice acting in Nintendo games.
There is. There isn't.
Is there?
Yeah.
I feel like Nintendo games can't handle voice acting.
Mario Odyssey has voice acting.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
It has some voices.
Oh man,
Nintendo is really
sound
fun,
effects.
but I feel like it's just always like a little behind the curve, especially with some of the technical limitations for how ambitious some of their games have wanted to be.
Yeah.
Like we have, like Breath of the Wild, yeah, it's solid, but
Voice acting is a technical limitation of Nintendo.
You could see that they want to expand beyond the scope of some of these projects and ideas, and then it's just like, not to say that the handheld is bad or anything like that, but I just imagine a world where Nintendo finally have a console that's, up to par with like custom gaming PCs, PS5, the current gen consoles.
I don't know if
and
they'll
then
ever
to
do
see
that.
where they right because they're
Bayonetta has voice acting. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. They're more of like a family, like we want everybody in the family to be gaming and we want to keep it connected and everything like that. But I just imagine a world where, it's like an MMO Pokemon game or something, where it's like everybody's running around capturing shit and there's people over there fighting something. It's like a virtual Pokemon Go or, you know what I mean? It sucks to see that the limitations of that console kind of keep things back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like hearing about the Pokemon thing, that sucks because Nintendo's
What you're talking about, we're not going to see for another 20 years.
Wait.
Rats.
Oh, right. For them having voice acting in Pokemon.
No, for that technical advancement and voice acting, because voice acting, that's like another 200 megs, bro. Like,
So there are games on Nintendo. So Fire Emblem has it. Okay, Xenoblade Chronicles has it.
you Googled voice acting in Nintendo games?
I did not, but I'm about to.
That's how bad it is.
I want to see a Wario epic. Wario with voice acting going on an adventure, like a Wario World sequel or something.
Yeah.
Something fun like that.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be nice.
I would enjoy that. Chat, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below about who you would like to see acquired or who you would not like to see acquired in this space. But I know I've kept my guests here for a long time. I want to respect their time and respect you all's time as well. So before we end today's podcast, Mav Attack, once again, where can people go to find you to experience Mav Attack?
A little bit of insanity. You can literally just type Mavattack anywhere in YouTube, Twitch, or on Instagram, posting shorts or reels. What is it called over there? One of those. Twitter, sometimes here and there. TikTok, of course. Just anywhere. You just type Mavattack, and there we are, looking goofy.
Love it.
That's about it.
And where can people go to find more of the Audio Lover?
Yeah, the Audio Lover at all socials. That's the audiolover.com, Audio Lover on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. I am on Instagram, but I don't be on Instagram, so don't worry about that right now. And yeah, Amazon, look at Ubisoft, and Take-Two and EA, maybe I should merge.
Ooh, interesting. Interesting. I didn't think about that, but it would make sense.
No, that would be the worst fucking merger in history, actually.
I mean,
They would dominate.
They would.
dominate. Bro, you're talking about Madden
GTA
and 2K?
Madden.
Madden and 2K? Why?
The sports. Yeah, you're right. The sports sector of gaming would just be completely
Mafia
monopolized.
and GTA?
Completely monopolized. Holy shit.
Mafia and GTA?
Well, here's the thing again.
That's why I said it.
Here's the thing again. This opens the door for that kind of shit to happen.
I would love and hate to see that happen at the same time.
Same.
Straight up.
Yeah, y'all know what it is. Keep it locked here. BlackOni.com to see all the Black Oni goodies. But yeah, we're going to continue. Yeah, right. We're going to continue the stream with some more Resident Evil 4 after this. Actually, now we were talking about that earlier.
Hell yeah.
What you gonna be playing today, Mav? Or actually, not today.
Today's an
Just
off day. Yeah. But the next time, I think it's back to Resident Evil. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it.
Right.
I'm going straight to the firing range, and I'm getting S on everything, and I'm getting all the tokens and all the little bobbleheads or whatever they are.
Yes.
I need them. Yes.
Did you beat it already?
No, I think we finished the lake.
Okay.
The lake section.
That's where I stopped too.
Ooh, the leg.
yeah,
Yes,
Leon
I saw-
sleep in the boat.
Yeah.
That's where we stopped.
Yeah.
That's what I saw from Oni. And that big ass, I don't know what the hell that was. That was scary. That was huge. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
Wanted to eat our cheeks.
It did.
That was disgusting.
Take the whole shit. All right, chat. We are going to transition in a bit, but we'll play some music and then yeah.
Oni, you still selling the comic?
I am, and actually
Drop. Come on, Oni. Stop playing games with people.
Link.
okay. So I just made it available on Amazon as well. So if you type in Anicut on Amazon, it will actually show up.
Let's go.
Only the digital version so far, but blackoni.com/store will take you directly. Lousy shot up with the command. Yeah, I got you. There it is. So blackoni.com/store will take you to where you can check out the comic book. We also did make a digital version available for you to download and purchase through the website as well.
Nice.
Yeah. Much love to you all for being here and for the amazing conversation that we had. Can't wait for the next podcast, which to be determined on when it is, but yeah.
Thank you for having
Let me
us.
know.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and make sure everyone go follow both the Audio Lover and Mav Attack, please.
We're out of here.
Thank you, and we out. Hey, the Juggles!
Buy that comic.
Let's go! Yes. Okay. For anyone listening, he was just juggling and did a phenomenal job of that.
And then I dropped them
And
all over the place.
I didn't see that part.
myself.
That's edited out.
Then I fell out of my chair and hurt myself. Laugh, please.